Hey everyone, welcome to Twin Cities Collective Podcast. I have a very special guest today, Mr. Gavin Thomas. Welcome,
Ni hao.
Gavin. Ni hao. You guys just came from China. How was that?
So it was good. That means how you say hello. So
Yeah.
I was doing good. I just got some like new things and other stuff. So I got like a little I got something from the claw machine
Ooh.
for parents' daughter and other stuff, and she's like.
Yeah.
Probably obsessed with it. And she's like, he was like gone for one more day, and then.
Okay, so Gavin, tell us a little bit about yourself. So you were on the app Vine, right? Is that kind of how you got famous?
But when I was starting 3, I was like, I started doing Vines, and me and Uncle Nick just did a lot of Vines, and the lizard on my hand, and the lizard bite me, and I said no.
Yep.
And so. Vine was over, so they're making money, so they lost money, so I really want Vine to come back, but it's not going to come back.
They were trying to do Vine 2.0, but I don't think that happened. So you kind of just were like doing some funny stuff, some funny reactions.
Yeah, like I had to stand here when my Uncle Nick is going to grab like the lizard, and we always made Vines like every day when I was at my grandma's house.
Nice. And do you remember doing that? You were really young.
And my grandma actually moved, so she's like in a nicer place than the
nice. So
place.
that place doesn't exist. You don't go there anymore. So do you remember doing those Vines when you were 3?
Yes.
Were they fun?
Yeah.
That sounds like so much fun. So basically after Vine, then you like became a meme? Do you know what a meme is? Do you know what kind of...
it's like when you make faces.
Yeah, and then you put like words on top.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite meme of yours?
I think it's like, I don't know, but maybe like the fake smile.
The fake smile, because that's what everyone
in China people call me like fake smile boy or something.
Fake smile boy. Yeah, let's talk about China. So So you're really big over there. Do you know how that happened?
I think I don't, but like I've been doing like a lot of videos, and people probably like subscribe all the time.
Yeah, because they don't have Instagram or anything in China, right? They have different social media.
Yeah, they don't have. They have WeChat and they have WeChat and then Weibo.
Weibo, yeah, and you guys are really big on there too, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing they have, and they have like other apps like PUBG. And it's pretty played there all the time, and I didn't even know like the people Chinese they're saying, so it's kind of hard.
You don't speak Chinese. Have you been learning Chinese at all?
Yeah, I've been learning.
A little bit. Where else have you been? I know you guys just went to LA for the Wreck-It Ralph premiere. How was that?
Good, and then we're starting to go to another place, and then in 2000, we're soon going to go to Florida, and I'm going to see one of the guys, and his name is, he starts with a K, but it's like, not Jordy or not Jelly.
I don't know who that is.
Is he one of the Fortnite players?
He plays Fortnite and like other stuff.
He's a streamer, right?
He plays that and all this stuff. But
he's going to Playlist, right? Just like you?
Yeah.
He's going to Florida. I want to see him.
You want to see him? So you guys have been to Playlist before. How is that like? That's like a YouTube convention, right? How's that going when you went there last year? What did you do there?
I think I was like... I just don't know.
You just kind of met a lot of people. Were you on like a panel or something? Or did you guys just do a meet and greet?
Yeah.
What are meet and greets like when you meet all your fans?
Like a meet and greet means like you're standing on somebody and then sitting on something like a chair.
Okay.
You have water. And then my dad gave me $1 from doing this, and like there's people like sitting here.
Okay.
And they want to take a picture with me, so I like signed the things.
You sign your autograph? Do you have a good autograph?
Yeah, I just do Gavin, but I don't know how to do like different things.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So, do you like when people come up to you and they recognize you?
Yeah.
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 It's cool. What do you say to them? Do you just say hi?
Yeah, it's like Mom's like, "What a picture?" And I was like, "A picture." And I was like, "Mm-hmm."
Yeah.
And I have to say yes.
Does it happen?
Yes.
Does it happen a lot here, like in Minnesota?
Not really, but
Not
like
really?
in China, it's so much. Like every time we go somewhere, like people want to take a picture with me.
Wow.
It's weird.
That's crazy. You're so young for that too. It's so crazy. So what do you?
And besides, when I was in China, I got like 2 awards, and then I got a Billy Award from how many likes? I forgot. My mom knows. My mom knows.
Yeah, your mom knows. Okay, what were the awards called, Kate?
She got an award from Weibo for being the youngest influencer to hit 1 million followers within 24
Ooh,
hours.
very exciting.
And you got a Panda Ambassador Award as well.
That's awesome. So you guys also got to go to New York, right? To do the Good Morning
How many
America.
podcasts have you made?
This is my 85th. You're my 85th or 86th, I think. Isn't that a lot?
Yeah, that's like more than.
Do you like?
This is my first one.
This
and
is
then,
this is your first one. I'm honored.
Yam House. They had a podcast yesterday.
Oh yeah, you guys, they're a local band, right? And I've heard they were actually part of our awards, best of awards. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah, they got in the top 5. So you like YouTube a lot though, right? And Fortnite, that's really your biggest things.
It's like I just want sometimes watching Minecraft and all that stuff, but I just really like. I'm a fan of Fortnite.
Do you play a lot though? You got to play with some really famous people too, right? Who did you play with? You got to play with like Brendan Urie, right? Do you know who that is?
Me and Jake and his brother is Sam. His name is Sam, and then Sam Charles, and then me and him.
Jay Cyrus.
Jay Cyrus.
No,
Yes.
I'm saying Sam.
Oh.
Jake's friend. It's his
Who is
brother.
that? I'm trying to remember who this is.
Jake is the photographer for Lord.
Hey, Mom.
Oh,
stop,
nice.
stop, stop. I said so. Sam Charles is basically Jake's brother. So
You guys go on Fortnite and play.
yeah, and then once I didn't think we were gonna win, but last time we did win. So that was my 8th win.
Oh wow, good job. That's really good. Isn't Fortnite hard to win? It's pretty hard to win, right?
I think I have 7 solid wins or 6 or something.
So you play that on Twitch, right? Or
No,
just
I don't stream on Twitch because other famous people like streamers stream on
like
Twitch.
Ninja and all those people.
Yeah,
Who are your favorite Twitch streamers?
Ninja's the best actually
Yeah,
in the whole game.
He is really good. I really like him. I don't really watch Fortnite, but I know who he is.
How do you know?
I follow him on Instagram and he's on YouTube
No,
as well.
you don't know Ninja.
I don't know him, but I know who he is. Have you met him before?
No, but one of
No.
my friends that were at the what's it called again? That person that knowed me, and he was remember that guy that was in California, and then we were at the party, and that person knowed me.
Oh, are you talking about at the Wreck-It Ralph?
He basically what he did is that when he actually went to Twitch or something, and then he saw a real Ninja, so he took a picture with Ninja.
Oh, at a party or something?
No, at Twitch.
Oh, at the Twitch thing. Oh, gotcha. Okay.
TwitchCon.
So you like YouTube too? Who are your
He
favorite?
always wears a headband and
Yeah.
and then in the back, sometimes in the background, and there was beer all the time.
Yeah.
That's weird.
So you
He has
Yeah.
a headband right here, and
Mhm.
then he has blue hair.
Yeah. So
There's this 9-year-old that plays Fortnite, and he's a streamer, and he was playing, and then he killed Tfue because he was a good player, and I don't know how he did that, but he just jumped down and caught him.
yeah, I haven't really played Twitch too much, but you really like YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite YouTube people do you like to watch?
I like to do I think I like to do my favorite YouTuber is kind of Jelly Ninja and Jordy
Okay. Yeah.
and
Are
Josh
those all
and
gamers?
Josh
Are they all
and
gamers?
Josh.
I don't know which Josh said. We'll leave all their links in the description. So, Gavin, is there anything else you want to talk to us about today? You're done. You're done with the interview.
I can't I don't think anything.
You don't wanna think anything?
Yesterday I was talking to my Yaya and I talked to her for 27 minutes.
Oh my gosh, that is a lot. Okay, well, if you're done, we're going to continue talking to your mom about your life because I think that would be good.
I know that because
You know
I
that.
just heard that because
Yeah.
Mom just told me so. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well,
So I
thanks.
can play my video games.
Okay, you can play your video games now. Thanks so much, Gavin, for coming on. And
Yeah, and also I'm gonna come back in this room in case I want to talk
Yes.
more. I'm gonna
Okay,
think about more.
think
ideas.
about more ideas, and we'll come back at the end. All right,
I
we're
can
gonna
come back.
take a break. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
I'm so
you.
excited. Katie and I met actually here last year at the Instagram Stories workshop.
Yes.
And you came because you were running Gavin's account and you needed more help on stories and stuff. So how has that been going in the last year?
It's been going amazing. I started my Instagram even before Gavin was born.
Yeah.
And Instagram's changed so much.
Oh, it has.
And within the last year, so it was about last early last December, we actually switched our accounts. So everything was my account, and then we switched. So Gavin had his own account. And, and so that's, around that time, that's when stories came out. And so we've been kind of...
Did you start from like zero basically, or?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and so I remember it was one summer, and I think I was at 4,000 followers, and it was like 4th of July weekend, and I was like, and so my brother, who's Nick Mastodon,
he's the one who started the account.
On Vine, and so I kind of pleaded with him, and I was like, please just get me to 5,000, that was kind of, and from there, in the next couple of months, it just kept it was like every day I'd log in, and it just kept growing, and so it was amazing to see people's comments, and they were like, oh, we finally found this account, and
because people probably didn't even know who this kid was that was in so let's just give a little background. So basically Gavin started on Vine with his uncle Nick, which people think is his dad, right?
Yes.
Some very commonly, or maybe not anymore, but...
So Nick started on Vine the day it actually came out.
Yes.
So I believe it was like 2012, 2013, and Nick was doing a lot of Disney matchups at that time, and grew, hugely in popularity. And so it was kind of fun to watch, at that as well. And then when Gavin was about 2.5, he started adding Gavin into his Vines and just kind of doing reactions. Because at that point... Gavin was just kind of like
a baby or like a toddler.
He was just little. And so Nick would just do funny things and then see how Gavin reacted. And,
for sure.
And so people really started to respond to it.
Yeah. And so then after, it was kind of when Vine was dying that the memes kind of started, right?
Yeah. So it was one summer. It was that summer I was talking about. And I think it was 2014, I believe it was. And it was like this whole summer of memes. And so it was like every time that we'd log in, like BuzzFeed or the different ones would have his memes, and it was just like, oh wow, and then it was the Summer Olympics in August, and Simone Biles and Lori Hernandez from the Olympics gymnastics team were tweeting out pictures of Gavin, and it was like, oh, this is okay, this isn't just on our Instagram, and now we're seeing it on Facebook. Now we're seeing it kind of at a larger scale, and so it was kind of surreal, and
probably overwhelming for you too, because you were not expecting that, especially as Vine was kind of, it was like a thing, but you didn't really have anything to do with it because it was your brother,
right?
So what was that transition? So then it became a meme, but then you're like, well, what do I do with this fame, I guess?
Yeah, and so what we just kept doing was like we just kept, posting. I was just posting like pictures and videos and cute things of Gavin on Instagram, kind of like any parent does, of like, oh, hey, this is what we did today, or those kinds of things. And, people continued kind of taking the photos and turning them into memes. And Gavin started getting recognized when we go out and about. And so that was kind of interesting. It was like, oh, we'd go to Target and people would be like, oh, he's that kid. And, it was like, I think it was like a summer later, I posted Gavin's picture of his kindergarten photo or first grade photo, one of those. And people really started being like, oh, this is my son. I started kind of seeing it a little bit.
It was kind of like connecting with people too.
And so, he turned into like the son and the nephew, and he was kind of like the big brother or the little brother that everyone kind of wanted to look
because one
after.
of his like nicknames is the internet's son.
Yes.
Which I was curious where that came from, because I don't know if I've ever figured that out. I was just like, that's just like such a random thing to name a little child that no one knows in real life, It
started on Vine. We started kind of seeing it on Vine a little bit, where people would be like, "Oh, this is my son," and all of that, and so
and they're like in high school, like they're just like, there's literally no way that could be your son,
Right?
Which is so funny.
And so there's always like the big debate of if he is like called the internet's son or the internet's nephew or those kinds of things, but everyone's pretty protective, like,
for sure.
And so it's kind of been nice because we see, I'm always seeing like positive comments, and people are like looking out for him and kind of checking in and those kinds of things.
So kind of, let's just talk a little bit about going back to like his, like the rise to fame. Like when did it become more serious for you as his mom? Like being like, oh, this is like a potential like way for him to like make money as a child you know, kind of like on internet celebrity, I guess, because, you know, we've talked about this. We've known each other for so long now, for like a year, that we've had so many conversations about this. But I just want to know, like, when was it in your head, like, oh, I could be like the Kris Jenner of Gavin, you know, or something, you know?
It's interesting because, you know, it's kind of slowly progressed. You know, Nick and Gavin were doing a lot of brand deals, or just, you know, every once in a while on Vine.
Yeah.
And so it kind of started there. And then when I kind of had my own account, we would do every once in a while, we do just little Instagram things. And it was just a nice way to be able to be like, okay, this is great money that we can put away for his, you know, college in the future, or, you know, any kind of education in the future that that he's able to, you know, put that money aside. And it's just kind of fun things. And
and you, I mean, really all you guys have, you're here most of the time in Minneapolis, but you get to go on all these fun trips to China, and like, I want to talk a lot about that. And then also, like, you went to the Wreck-It Ralph 2 premiere, as I was mentioning with Gavin. So how, like, when was the first trip that you ever went on? Was that to Playlist, or what was the first one?
I think the first trip that we went on was, I have a really good friend who we met at Jingle Ball a couple of years ago, and his band, he actually had a band out in Texas.
Okay.
And they flew us out for Gavin to be in a music video.
Oh, fun.
And so Gavin, I think, was 5 years old, and he was in this music video, and it was adorable. And so I think that was the first one. But then, yes, after that, we've been to 2 playlists so far, and we're going to our next one March
jealous.
3rd. I know. I'm ready to get out of this cold weather.
Yeah, I know.
And we actually have a meet and greet this next weekend in Seattle.
Oh yeah, I saw that on Instagram. That's so cool. So basically, okay, when did the China stuff happen? Because that is so interesting, and like the most bizarre part of this whole bizarre story that is your life. But I just want to know how that kind of started.
So I was looking back in my emails the other day, and it was interesting because it was like back in just January or February or sometime, I reached out to Gavin's manager and just said, hey, have you heard of Weibo? Because I keep getting messages from people saying, hey, we want you to join Weibo. There's so much interest. We're sharing pictures and videos. We'd love to hear from Gavin firsthand. And so around that time, we had a company reach out and just say, we'd love to help you guys with translating everything, with learning learning all of the different platforms and all that. And so it took about 6 months to kind of come up with that plan and see what that looked like, and all that. And so at the end of July, this last summer, we opened the account, and Gavin created this welcome video where he said, hi, my name is Gavin Thomas. I really, really want to come to China one day. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. Yeah. And it was really interesting to watch because within 24 hours, Gavin hit 1 million followers, and we were blown away. That was I think that was like our 1-year goal for like all platforms, and so we're still kind of blown away. So this last trip that we went,
you've been 3 times, or twice?
The three times now.
Wow, that's crazy.
So it's amazing. Gavin and I had never left the country before that, and so in August we were like, all right, we better get our passports. And
nice. So what is it like traveling with him? Because I know I've seen pictures. I was talking to our mutual friend Harry, and he said that his friend sent him a like paparazzi shot of Gavin, like at the airport. Like, isn't that insane? Yes. Like, what the heck? Like, what is, like, it just blows my mind, like, how famous he is in China, which is like the most random thing in the world. But like, so when you get there, like the first time, what was that like? Was there like a lot of people waiting for you and stuff?
So we actually had, there was a company that we worked with called Peacebird Men. They invited us out within a month of opening that Weibo account. And so they invited us out so that Gavin could help out with this campaign called Feel Like a Teen. Okay. And it was they collaborated with Disney. So he was a Mickey Mouse thing, which was really cute. And they kind of showed us around China and all that. And so it was amazing because, we went to a playhouse one day, and I think we had posted like, kind of a general idea of what we were going to be doing that trip, but not like, okay, this is. And at one point we were like, we were walking to this playhouse, and they said, hey, just a heads up, there's about 100 people outside waiting to meet Gavin or see Gavin. Wow. So I leaned down to Gavin and just said, hey, heads up, like if you're interested, we can do a big group photo. We'll, arrange everything. And I looked up, and everyone was standing right there, and it was like, oh, hi. And, so being in Minnesota, we get it every once in a while where we go to Target, but this was like, oh my goodness.
It was like celebrity.
This is so much bigger than we've ever had. And it's one of those where it's like it's so hard to explain
Yeah.
to.
So would you ever get nervous in those situations, like being like, he's just a child, he's 8 years old, right? And
Yeah.
he's like, he's in a foreign country, you never know what could happen. Like, how do you keep him safe from everything on the internet?
We always, yeah, exactly. So in those situations, we always have, like some kind of
bodyguard or
security,
something,
or we also have like a very great team that's around us. It's really nice because, my husband's not traveling with us at that time. And so, we have this great team over in China that it's kind of like they've become our family because we're
nice.
talking to them constantly about what
Yeah.
we're posting and what content we're creating, and then they come with us on these trips, and so we've gotten to go to these amazing places with these people that have just kind of become
that's really
become our
cool.
family, which is amazing, and which we would have never had that opportunity otherwise. And but I think like kind of going with security on the internet and all of that, it's it's just kind of protecting Gavin's identity and not disclosing where he goes to school and just kind of always kind of keeping that watchful eye.
For sure. And a lot of people don't know he lives here. So that's why it's funny because, like, I mention you guys sometimes people and they're like, wait, they live in Minneapolis? Like, that's just the most, like you'd think he lives in LA or something.
A lot of people do. They think we either live in like LA or New York or something like that.
And you went to LA for the first time, like last
we
year.
Did.
For that, how was that premiere? That looked
was
so.
amazing.
I kept following the stories, and I'm like, this looks so cool.
We stayed in the Hollywood Roosevelt, and so we got to overlook the Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
And so we got to see them every morning. Gavin would wake up and like take pictures, and we got to see them like put together the red carpet, which was they actually it was a blue carpet for the event for Wreck-It Ralph, and so it was kind of a cool experience.
Yeah, you got
to
to meet all
watch
the memes
everything.
and stuff too.
We did. They invited I think it was like 9 or 10 other like internet celebrities.
Yeah.
So
like
Chloe
kid.
who does backpack
it was like
David
Daniel,
after
Daniel,
yes
wasn't he there?
they were there. David after dentist was there. So it was a really cool experience to kind of
meet them all.
to kind of have, especially I talked to a couple of the other moms and I was like, okay, you guys know you guys are going through this, you guys know this, it's kind of like that cool bond that you have.
Because you guys are friends with like the Ballingers as well.
Yeah.
If anyone watches like Colleen Ballinger or like Miranda Sings, it's kind of her brother and his wife and their kids.
Yes.
And they are in LA too, I think.
Yeah.
So like, did you get to visit any of the YouTube people when you were out there? Or?
Not when we were out there. Well, we did get to we visited with 2 of them.
Okay.
We visited with our friend Reagan. So we got to see a few of them, but that's why we were excited for Playlist, is because it's like everybody's just all in one big hotel, and so we get to go. So it's nice because it's like we see comments on the internet and we see the posts and all that, but it's nice to actually like
Meet
put a
them,
face with everybody and be able to meet them and kind
Yeah.
of do that in one big weekend, and it's a lot of fun.
So you guys, because you didn't do a panel, or you did a meet and greet last year, or
we've
or
only done meet and greets
meet and
the
greets,
2 times.
Because he's so young, I feel like you wouldn't really have much to say on the panel, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like everyone probably recognizes him at those events because they're there for like YouTube and Instagram stuff. So that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about like how you guys work with brands, because I think that's really interesting. Like you have a manager out of New York?
Out of LA.
LA,
yes.
okay. And how did you find them and how does that work?
Yeah, so we work with a management company. They so they're based out of LA. We actually have a friend named Ryan Abe who's based out of New Jersey. And so when I started realizing like, okay, we're having companies contact us, my biggest thing is Gavin's 8 years old. He's not really able to make these decisions on his own. And, I don't have experience in this industry at all.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like, all right, I need to protect Gavin. I need to make sure that, at the end of the day, he's not going to come back and say, oh my goodness, why did we do this?
Yeah.
Or, and so I wanted to have kind of a team in place to be able to make sure that the decisions that we were making were the right ones. And so I needed somebody who was kind of an expert, definitely an expert in this industry,
sure.
and was able to walk us through it. So we have a 2 managers, and then we have an attorney, and we have an accountant as well, just to make sure that everything kind of on all fronts of Gavin's is taken care of. And so when he's 18,
he'll get all his money.
he'll be all set for
for
college.
for a while.
And
For sure. And
all
so with the brand deals, like they come to the manager, or do they come to you and then you give them to the manager?
They come to the manager.
Okay. Because that's probably your contact. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
so I changed it about a year
Oh,
ago.
you did? Okay.
So any of our contact information, anytime that you click on Instagram or anything like that, all emails, all contact goes directly through him. And then he's able to talk to them and kind of go through. Our lawyers review everything. So she's an entertainment lawyer, so she reviews everything and kind of goes through. So before we even sign anything, everything's kind of...
Yeah, and so now how many, like, there's so many questions. So, like, what kind of brand deals do you end up doing? Like, do you only partner with people that you kind of like their products, or how does that work?
So I think it kind of depends on, but we definitely, it's always somebody that we,
Look
feel,
at.
look at.
Yeah.
And we're very conservative too, because, if something were to kind of go the wrong way, unfortunately, Gavin isn't able to come back and say, this is why I did this, or this is why I worked with them. He's
with the
not
controversies and stuff.
Yeah. And so, so we're very careful with anyone that we work with, just making sure. And so, we're able to kind of go through and see.
Because you guys recently started selling merch, like shirts and all that. Was that part of the China stuff, or how did that work?
So we had one this last summer that we did with Represent. And so they did like My Four Moods.
Yeah, I saw those ones. I remember
T-shirts
that one,
and sweatshirts and mugs and all that. And then we were working in China. We're working with a company called named BizCut.
Okay.
And so they're doing all of our merchandise over there with phone cases and sweatshirts and blankets and all that. And so we actually got to go to their studio, and then they have like kind of a little like shop down on their first level, and so we got to kind of hang out there.
So
and
cool. So because I saw pictures of Gavin wearing his own shirt.
Yeah, he does. So he always because he has a couple of them, so he's always like switching them out and wearing them, and so. Yeah,
it's so cool.
It's like all right, there was one day where he showed up at the Mall of America and he's wearing his own shirt, and I think he was kind of like, oh, I wore that. That's right. I think
people came up to you.
Yeah, then people would come up, because sometimes people are kind of like you said, people don't know we live here. So a lot of times people will be like, hey, has anyone ever told you he looks like that kid? And I'm like, yeah, no, that actually is him.
Yeah.
And so
do
when
people freak out?
Like
some maybe.
He's had a few. He doesn't like screaming.
No, I bet he doesn't. No.
So every once in a while, people have, like gotten excited and screamed, and he's just kind of like, no.
Yeah.
But it was funny when we were in China the second time. I actually asked them how to say shy, because when Gavin gets into a new situation, a lot of times he can kind of get kind of shy, and so I wanted to explain to them that he wasn't trying to get out of the situation. He just was feeling shy, so we learned how to say hi show.
Oh, okay.
And so now he walks up to people and he'll say ni hao, and he'll say hi show.
Oh, that's so cute.
So I'm like, well, at least it's kind of your icebreaker, I guess, is that you'll tell people that you're shy, which is cute.
I want to talk a little bit more about some of the local stuff, because I feel like you guys have gotten plugged into Jingle Ball and all that stuff. How did you was that kind of like your first taste of brand influencer events kind of stuff?
So we've actually, with Jingle Ball, we've actually been we were invited a couple years ago by Camila Cabello, and she was in with Fifth Harmony at that time, and so we got to kind of go hang out with her and do that. And then the next year we just went to the pre-party because of bedtime. And so,
I love that. It's a bedtime, so you have to hang on the that's so funny.
So we just went to the pre-party, and then we hung out with Max at that point. And he ended up playing Tag with Sabrina Carpenter, and
oh my gosh, I saw some of those
and
videos.
All that. And we've done other events with Go 96, and so we did their we've done a couple of their Go shows.
I went to
before.
that breakfast with you guys.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's been kind of fun to kind of hang out. And we did something recently. We did a live broadcast recently with Love Your Melon.
Yes, I saw that.
And so it was really fun. I don't think Gavin ever wanted to leave their office. They have this huge
in the North
setup.
Loop.
Yes. And so
I saw you that day. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That's so funny.
We had coffee right after. So it's been kind of fun to kind of have these.
You don't have to travel, which is nice. You just drive your car. Come to stuff like this at the podcast. But oh my gosh, every time I meet with you, I have so many questions, and I just think it's so interesting, and I'm so glad that we finally found a time to meet up. But let's just talk a little bit more about kind of what the future looks like, because I think Gavin is kind of like now starting to build his own person, and like he's really into Fortnite and like YouTube. So like, what do you kind of see, like, because I mean, eventually he's almost gonna get too old that he won't look like his childhood self. So
Yeah.
like, how is that gonna work? How is he gonna transition into like being almost like a teenager?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because, like we were talking about that the other day. I'm like, he's not that cute little like, toddler who was kind of, waddling around and just doing, and so I think for him, it's been really important. We bought him a vlogging camera after we got back from Playlist. We were like, all right, we have to have the same camera as everyone else. And so he's been grabbing his own camera and kind of, jumping in and being like, okay, it's Gavin here and I'm going to make this video.
Yeah.
And it's been fun because he has a couple of his friends in his class that, when we went to New Jersey, we left. I think I picked him up like a half hour early before school was over, and we went to the airport, and he was telling his friends that, he was like, all right, I'm going to go. And they said, all right, have fun making YouTube videos with all your friends. And so, so it's been kind of fun because, now he'll go back and say, hey, did you guys watch my newest YouTube video? Or he's like, Mom, I have to make a YouTube video so my friends can watch it. And so, it's kind of fun for him. He likes to, every once in a while, he'll wake up and go, okay, it's Saturday morning. I want to do a broadcast. And I'm like, okay, it's 6 a.m. Nobody's going to be able to watch this morning. Let's wait at least until people start waking up a little bit.
China, they might.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's interesting because, like, he's kind of on and off in terms of personality. I feel like there's times when he's like good, like even when he came into the podcast today, I was like, I hope he talks, because it's like you never know with him. I've been to events. We've been to a bunch of events in the last year together, and like sometimes, like I remember when we went to that Halloween one, he did not want to be there. Do you remember that?
Oh my goodness.
He did not want to ride that carousel at the zoo.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
Like, he just was complaining the whole time. So I was just like, okay, well, it's funny because, like, some days he's, like, really into it and some days he's not. So it's, like, it's interesting, like, how when you work with brands, like, do you, like, guarantee things or how does that work?
They'll kind of give us, like, a script, but that's a lot of times where his manager will then go back and say, okay, this is kind of a general idea of what we're going to say. Because, a lot of times Gavin will kind of give it his own Gavin spin to things or word things kind of how, kind of how it sounds best for him. Yeah. And so they kind of know that going in.
For sure. He's not an actor, but he's taking acting classes, right?
He is. So we've taken a couple of acting classes, and then he has, tomorrow morning, he's doing like a teen and like children and teen acting class.
Oh, fun.
And so I think that's a couple weeks long.
Is that what he wants to do, or is it more just to like build up his confidence and talking?
Right now he does. He's kind of interested in that, and part of it for me is just kind of building up his confidence. I wasn't very outgoing as a child, and so for me it's kind of gaining that confidence and getting up there. And so no matter what he does in life, no matter what he decides at this moment, he wants to be a gamer and be a YouTuber and kind of do that. So we'll see what that looks like in 10 years.
It's funny because that's like what all little kids want to do now.
Right?
But he's like actually has the potential because he's already got the following, which is crazy.
Yeah, it is. Like a lot of times it's really interesting for me to explain to people because they're like, oh, so what do you do, or what.
Yeah, that's probably weird to explain.
It is. It's a really hard.
I remember when you were at our workshop and we were going around and you're like, I'm my child's mother. Like
it's a strange thing that I'm here for.
Job that I have. Yeah.
Like all these people are like, okay, I'm the social strategist, or I'm and I'm like, I
manage my child's
I manage my child's Instagram and social media accounts.
Funny.
And they were all like, oh, that's cute. And then I'm like, oh yeah, it's like.
But I like, and it's funny because I was the one. I think I followed you guys, and then you followed us back. Because I used. Fun fact, I loved Vine back in the day. I didn't really do it myself, but I was like, I watched it all the time. And so I like had heard of Gavin. And so then I like was like, wait, they live in Minneapolis. So that's kind of how that happened. But it's just so cool that like, you're just like such a normal family that this has happened to. Like, this is the craziest thing in the world, I think.
Well, and that's what people say that, I think, on the internet, that's what you see is you see kind of like, you see us like always taking pictures or doing videos or those kinds of things. But I think at the end of the day, kind of like we were talking about with brand deals, Gavin in the end of the day is just, he's always there to play. Yeah. So like, Like he brought his, he brought our
Yeah.
extra phone with because he was like, all right, I'm going to go play Fortnite now. Or we recently worked on a project and he took a break and he went and played soccer out in China,
Yeah.
like out in
Oh, nice.
so it's kind of like, at the end of the day, he kind of like does his thing, he makes his videos, he does his thing, and then he just like goes and plays and
That's really healthy,
and so
I think.
for us, Gavin's he kind of just plays all the
Yeah.
time. He loves it.
He's a
and
very playful kid.
he is.
Yeah.
He loves to. He's
Yeah,
always
he likes
coming
to
up
run
with
around.
games and
Yeah, I remember that time he had the water gun.
yes.
He was squirting people. That was funny.
We I know that's always the funny thing. I've thought about doing something where because every time we go to Gavin loves going to concerts and Gavin doesn't always like to go stand up front and dance to the music or anything like that. Gavin likes to go and like arrange games. So he's like, okay, there's gonna be a bunch of people there. And then
Yeah.
we're gonna play freeze tag. So I think we've been to the garage before in Burnsville, and Gavin had like the entire like garage, and everyone was playing freeze tag
Oh
at
my
some point, and it
gosh.
was just like, this is crazy, like this is
Yeah.
amazing, and that's just like he loves it, and so we're going to a show this next Tuesday, and he's like the entertainment guy,
Oh,
and
that's
so he gets to bring
awesome.
all the games
Oh,
and
fun.
kind of arrange the tag and.
Yeah, I feel like he gets to turn these adults into kids again,
He does. We had that with a band once, and they said that they were like, oh, typically we kind of hang out before the set,
Yeah.
and they're like, this time we were playing kickball and ping pong and all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So it's kind of like he just kind of gets to go.
Well, because I feel like he has to be around adults a lot
yeah.
too. So he's kind of like still has to be a kid with within his 8-year-old self.
Well, and that's like the funny thing too is I think on Instagram it's perceived a lot of the way too that he. Because we don't take pictures with like his friends that are that age and all of that.
Yeah.
Just because that's always like my disclaimer I give my friends. I'm like, just
Yeah.
so you know, like I'm gonna be taking this photo, but like it's not gonna go on Instagram because like my child's out there. But like I know a lot of people
Yeah.
are very protective and like
For
they
sure.
have private accounts or
Yeah.
they don't even post at all or they'll post kind of like a profile or the back, like
Yeah.
and so that's kind of like my disclaimer that I give. I'm like, okay, I'm like, our kids are going to be playing. I
Yeah.
just want this picture for like my own photos.
For sure.
But yeah, it's,
Because you're kind of picky about what you share about him, and I feel like that's really good. I applaud you because there's some, I'm not going to name names, but there's some moms on the internet that are like kind of exploiting their kids in a little bit way. And I think you really protect him and like let him do what he wants to do, but don't like push him into like moving to LA and stuff or whatever.
no. And he, like at some point, if he was like, okay, we're going to, then I'd be like, okay, great. But, we're kind of just like, whatever he wants to,
Yeah.
whatever he wants to do. And he's like an excellent negotiator.
Mm,
So,
that's good.
He'll, if we are going to do something where,
Yeah.
we recently, when we were in China, we recently worked on a project. I wish I could talk about it because I'm really excited about it.
It's-
But
yeah. hidden
but
secrets.
it was one of those where he was like, all right, let's do a little bit of work and then let's go play. And I'm like, all right, great, like let's do that. So he's always like timing out. He's always has a schedule. He's like,
that's
all right,
good.
so I did this and now I'm gonna go play. And I'm like, all right, great. So
That's
he's
so cool.
so it's kind of fun.
I can't wait to see like what he does because I feel like he has such an awesome platform and everyone already knows who he is. So it's like he can kind of pick what he does.
Yeah,
you know?
it's been fun, and it's really fun for me too, like that he kind of gets excited where he'll watch like all these videos where like he'll watch these YouTubers or he'll watch different people like doing like Instagram or those kinds of things, and and so then he'll get to like different events or he'll meet people and he'll be like, hey, do you remember when you did this? And so it's kind of fun for him that he gets
Like
to
he remembers me, which is really
Yeah.
cool. Like
He's
you never know. Like I'm like, oh, you remember me from like
he was
me
trying to
and you?"
already
Yeah.
figure out when like
when we're
you
gonna
guys-
hang out.
when you
yeah.
guys were gonna hang out again.
Yeah,
So
I was like, I'd love to see you again. I mean, yeah, and it's fun because I get to talk to you about this stuff, which I find really cool, and I'm sure
Yeah.
you probably don't have a lot of people in the area that like understand what's going on.
yeah, so it's always nice when we get together. I'm like, okay, I can finally like geek out and be like, okay,
Yeah,
this is so
this is
cool.
social
Like this
media,
is what we're
yeah.
doing, and
I know.
Um,
I love talking about it with you. We have a lot in common,
Yes.
so it's just been really fun to be friends with you over the last year. It's been super awesome.
well, and
so.
you let us do our first podcast.
Yes,
so.
I'm so excited. I hope that everyone listening is like, oh my gosh, I need to meet Gavin now because I feel like everyone needs to like. Hopefully, you guys will be at some local events, so maybe you'll run into him, and now you'll look out for him and be like, oh, cool, that's the guy I heard in the podcast or whatever. So
Right.
if you haven't, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people listening that probably haven't heard of you because I think most of your audience is like under like 25, for the most part, right?
Yeah, I think our demographic, is like like I think it's like 18 to 25
Mhm.
and you know, some
Yeah,
kind
college
of
mostly,
in
yeah.
between there. And so
Yeah.
it's been interesting, and that's I think a lot of times too, you know, I'm not always like, you know, I'm usually the one
You're behind the scenes. I
behind
never
the
see you
scenes.
on his account ever.
I'm trying to get better. They were asking us the
Yeah.
other day. They're like, okay, you guys need to do more family stuff,
Yeah.
and so yeah, it's been kind of funny to. So I'm trying to do it, but that was always my brother's joke was like
Yeah.
when they were making vines, you could always hear me talking in the background. I
Oh.
talk way too much, and so you could always hear me talking
That's why
too
podcast
much.
is perfect.
I know. I need to.
You guys should maybe start a podcast at some point. But
Well, now that I know he loves
yeah.
talking,
Well, there you go. I mean, yeah, hire Ian and come to Stu Americana. Well, thank you so much for being here. How do we
Yeah.
find Gavin and all you guys on social media?
So kind of depends on what, but mostly Gavin Thomas. Instagram and Twitter is Gavin Thomas. YouTube is Gavin Thomas YT. We're still growing that.
I'm excited. I really want to help you guys with YouTube.
yes,
I
we
think
need
it would
to
be
figure
so
that out
fun.
because
Let's do it. 'Cause
I-
I want to do my own videos too, and I like have been slacking the heck out of it.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
We'll partner with that.
Yeah.
And then Facebook is Gavin Thomas FB. So
And that one has like 1 million, right?
yeah,
Which is insane.
yeah.
That's insane. That's
So
cool.
it's been kind of fun to
Yeah.
and it's fun. It's just fun to see the comments and
Yeah.
you know and
Mhm.
just what people
Yeah.
are.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Sounds good. Bye.
Yep. Thanks for listening to the Twin Cities Collective podcast with Jenna Redfield. Make sure to click subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to leave us a review on iTunes. Thanks again for Ian at Studio Americana for producing this episode, as well as Melanie Lee for designing the podcast art. And thanks to Nikolai Hedless for the use of the song in the intro and outro. Thanks so much again, and I'll see you next time.